All right, good morning, folks. Welcome to another round of coffee and questions. But the wind's picking up out here, so you might hear the garage door rattle a little bit. And what are we going to talk about today? I'm going to talk about a project that you can get your family involved in, maybe your kids. I had a lady that asked me, hey, my son saw something on the internet he thought was pretty cool, wanted to take it, to school for a project, show it around. I said, sure, show me a picture of it. And it's with a nail, like in a piece of wood, and how they did it and whatever. I took a look at it and I thought, well, I'm going to play around. I'm going to do something a little bit more fun for him. And I made him something like this. This is the first one that I made. And instead of using a nail, I used a railroad tie. And it goes back and forth. People look at it and say, how in the world did you get that in there? Because you can't see that there's any break or any seam anywhere on this. Take a close look. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Well, I did a little bit of research. Thought it'd be a fun video and a fun project. So you got to get a 2x6, a 2x8, something like that, cut off scrap. Whatever you got laying around, even if you want to go buy it, I suppose you could. And you get something like this. So what do you do next? And I'm going to take you through it step by step on how I do it. And I'll do it in two videos. This first video is going to be just what I do to make it. And then the second one, we'll concentrate on having some fun with the finish work on it and make it look good. So the first thing that I would do with this, and I'm going to take you over in a minute to my saw, is I'm going to cut it to the length that I want. About 12 and a half inches. And the reason why I say that is it depends on wood like this, like you might run into, this one doesn't have it, you might run into a bad area where there's a knot and it looks really bad. So I might go just a little bit more, but somewhere around 12 and a half inches. And that's just a guess. You can make it longer if you want, shorter, whatever you want to do. That's the way I did it. So I'm going to take you over here to the saw, like I said, just a sec. And I'm going to show you. Now you can use a hand saw, you can use a band saw, you can use a skill saw, pretty much anything you want. I mean, to cut this down, you don't have to go out and buy any expensive tools. So I'm going to try to take you through this, but there are some tools along the way that we'll call them specialty tools. I have a rotary, handheld rotary grinder right here. Now this one's okay, but I bought another one today. I bought another one from Tack Life. It's not here yet. I'll do a video, demonstration on that product review. This one right here, I don't even know. I got it at a garage sale for a couple of bucks. Let me see. I don't really even see a name on it, but it works, but I broke the little locking mechanism up here, and it's really hard to hold it down anymore. But I'll use that today to grind a channel. You're going to need to figure out a way in the middle of this project right here to grind out this channel in the middle here. So if you have another way of doing it, that's fine. I mean, I'm just going to show you the way I do it. Let's go ahead. Let's get started. Let's move over to that saw. I'll show you what I do. I'll try to shorten the steps so it doesn't turn out to be a long video. See you in just a sec. Fun project for your kids today, okay? All right. What about this one? I sold it for $45. The demo one, I didn't. That was like my first time doing it. So I actually made 3 of them like that, and you'll see why. There is a point here where you can screw it up. So I figured, well, I'll cut 3 boards to size. So 2 of them I did, 1 of them I finished, and I brought to the lady who gave it to her kid. All right, let's go to the saw. Let's get after this project. Here we go. All right, step 1 is you need to figure out a way to saw this lumber. So I'm going to use something a little bit wider. I think this is about a 2x8 for this demonstration. I used a 2x6 on the last one. But you're going to figure out a way to cut it, hand saw, skill saw, band saw, whatever. And let's get up here, and I came in 12 inches. 12 inches, use the speed square, and I marked a line. Now, I made 2 of these. Let's take a look right here. Okay, so I made 2 of them. So when I cut this now with my big delta here, I'll have 2 of them. And so in case something goes wrong with one, and I'll explain that as we go, I have another one that I can do, and hopefully it won't go wrong, because there is a part in this that can easily go bad on you quick, and I'll show it to you here in a minute. So I'm going to cut this and I'll be right back. Okay folks, so I'm back. So I took the piece of wood and I found the center and I drew a line. Then I came in on each side. I was just guessing, but I made it an equal distance. I came in here where these black lines are, and that's 3.5 inches. Now that's where I'm going to set that drill bit, that hole saw, and I'm going to cut a hole through here and through here. So I'm going to take you over to the drill press. I'm going to show you how I do it, and just some things to be cautious of when you're doing it. So I did 2 of these like this in case we have a failed project, and it can happen because there's a part where I have to break this, and when I do, sometimes they don't quite break like I want them to. So I always do 2 in case one fouls up. So I'll meet you at the drill press. Here we go. So I have the hole saw set up on there. It's 2 5/8. And I started to drill these holes. And I started to drill the holes. Now I'm not going to turn the drill press on, but let me show you. When I came down, I used the drill bit on the underneath side to line up with that black mark that I made. And then I start going down. And what I do, because these plugs end up binding up in here real tight, and you got to use a screwdriver and go through the slots, like right here, and you can work it out with a screwdriver. It's got slots all the way around it on both sides, so you can work it out that way. But so what I found is by going up and down with this, just like this, in and out of that hole a bunch of times, as I work my way down, it won't create that bind and that plug in there. Now, I know because I held the board up to here. I held it up, and I know when that drill bit, which is hard to see way down here, I know when it's going to come out the bottom. So I kind of eyeball it, and I know by this line right here, I'm not going all the way through, but the drill bit will have gone through. Then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to come back on the other side, and what it will do by coming back through here on the other side, it will make that cut look real clean. So give me a sec, I'll show you, I'll be right back. Okay, and now you see the plug just comes right out, watch. That's it. And I'm going to do the same thing over here, and what it gives you this nice clean hole through here. And there's no splintering or anything like that as if you go to come out the back side. Now the other thing I do as a precaution, I put a piece of scrap wood, which is right here, before I put this on there and start any drilling, just in case it goes through. If I have this supporting board there, you'll see where these circles are over here where it did go through. It still won't splinter. The odds are in my favor. So this gives it that nice clean hole. So I'm going to do the other ones, and I'll be back with you in a few minutes. Alright, let's see if we can do this one-handed. So now you got the holes cut through there, and I put it in the vise pretty close to that line. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this big hammer, Harbor Freight Special, and I'm going to hit it hard. Don't tap on it. I did this before, and it creates too many splinters. I mean, this is good dried Doug fir, you know, 2x8, and so I'm going to hit it fairly hard here. So let's see what happens. About right there, because I'm trying to do this all with one hand. Okay, that broke pretty clean. Let me pick up the other piece. Let's see if they fit together, you know, fairly tightly. Now, if I set it back on there, you can see right here, and I glue this up, you're not going to be able to see that line. So now all we have to do, we'll go back into the workshop, is we need to carve out a space here and in here for that railroad tie to sit into. Then we'll glue it back up, and we'll try to make that line disappear. We didn't get any splintering. It broke clean, and it lines back up real clean. Okay, so you definitely want your safety glasses right here. And I'm going to carve that out, like I said, about half the width of that railroad tie, a little bit more. We want a little play in it. Let's see what happens here. Let me show you. I'm going to turn this on. It's loud. Now, this has a variable speed control on here, and you know, it goes all the way up to max, which is about 7, and then I can control it all the way down. So to start off with, I'm going to run it slow. It's not as noisy, and you can hear me. Okay, so I put one of those cheap bits in here that you can buy anywhere. Like I said, I'll leave the link below. Let's try it. Okay, folks, we're back, and I'm just kind of lining this up. Now, you'll see I took that carver and I carved this out. It took me probably about 5 minutes or so. Not a long time. And I want to make sure that it's going to set on there and it's going to kind of line up, and yep, it is. I'm going to push down. It'll still move around. All right, so we're good. So how am I going to glue this, and what am I going to do so that it lines up? Okay. What I have laying around, I had to go look. I have some Gorilla Glue. You can use different kind of glue, but if you use Gorilla Glue, you want to dampen the areas that you're going to put it on just with some water. And that's all I'm doing right here. Just with a little junky brush. Get them out at Harbor Freight, all this stuff. And so I just go along where the glue joints are going to be and where it's going to set up. And I just put a little water. Let it sit there for a few seconds. No big deal, right? Now, I've got some of these acid brushes. Let me find one. I got them out at Harbor Freight. They're throwaways. They're cheap. All right, so they come in a packet. They look like this. They're real cheap, Harbor Freight stuff. And I got my little bottle of Gorilla Glue, and I'll leave all the links for everything below. You can use Tite Bond. You don't have to use this. It's what I had laying around because I don't know where my Tite Bond went. So you want to be careful with this stuff, the Gorilla Glue, because it actually will foam up on you. It's not a big deal to clean up, but I put just a little bit there. I can put a little bit along this edge, a little bit along this edge. I'll put some more over here. And that's probably fairly good. Now, because of these edges, I'm going to put just a little bit in, a little bit. Because I want it to set up real good. With the Gorilla Glue, put the top back on right away. It's lasted me quite a while. I mean, then I use this little junk brush, and I just brush. I don't come too close to the edge if I don't have to. Like I said, you get a little bit on there, don't sweat it. Real quick, easy kind of a thing. Then, flip it over. Now I'm going to line it up. Now, it's going to move on you, and you want to make sure everything is kind of flush. I got Irwin clamps. I would suggest you buy some if you ever get an opportunity. These are fantastic clamps. I don't put it down on there real tight at first. I just kind of snug it on. Put one on each end, and then I'm going to put one in the middle, a smaller one, but right now, and that's pretty good. About right there would be better. Okay, it's pretty good, but I like to pinch on these, and I want to make sure everything is perfectly lined up, nice and tight, and then put some force behind this. I come over to the other side, and I'm going to feel. Okay, this side feels a little bit this way, so I'm going to push on it just a bit. There we go. And apply pressure. There we go. And you're going to get some oozing, no way around that. Now, this thing's still moving, which is good. All right. Now. All right, so I got another one a little bit bigger. I'll bring it in right in the middle, and I feel, yeah, it's good. Then I apply pressure here. You're gonna have to let that set a while. So let me get it to the side. Now after it dries, okay, we're gonna do some cleanup work. And so I'll come back to that in a bit and I'll show you what I do to make the line totally disappear so that you end up with something like this. We'll do a second video. I'll do the finish work during that video, but this is just to get you through the project step by step on what I do and what I found what works for me. So for this video, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up until that glue sets up and dries. I'll be back with you in a while. You folks have a good day. Don't forget to click subscribe, drop a comment. Let me know if you have another way of doing what I'm doing, or a better way maybe than what I did. Maybe you got something better way to make that channel rather than using a carver. I don't know. You can also use a hand drill to use those hole saws if you want to. You don't have to use a drill press. You don't have to use a power saw. I mean, you could use a skill saw to cut these down to size. You could use a hand saw. Lots of different ways, lots of different tools. Cool project for the kids. Get them out in the garage, get them interested, let them do the finish work, let them sand it, have some fun with it. We'll go over all that finished stuff in the next video. You folks have a great day. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.